What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is July 31st of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, we've got a wide range of topics to cover. We're going to start off by taking a look at cryptocurrency markets, talking about a $1.3 billion transaction on the Bitcoin network, LedgerX finally launching their physically settled Bitcoin futures contracts, and then also the importance of today's FOMC meeting, the meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee, or the Federal Reserve in this case. So we're going to be talking about what to look for in that, and then at the end of the video, we also have a sponsored review of CoinDeal.com. Now, if you guys haven't heard about the exchange, I recommend you stay around for it. It's going to be a good one, and it could be a great alternative for a lot of you who possibly have been given the boot from Binance to not be able to trade there anymore after September. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the market overall, guys. We can see most cryptocurrencies are in the green at the moment, finally shedding a little bit of positivity as Bitcoin has started to pick up pace over the last 48 hours, and we've started to see altcoins follow in that nature. Now, if we take a look at global market capitalization and market dominance here, in the case of market dominance, Bitcoin has been slowly gaining over the last few days. It's less than 0.5%, guys, so it's nothing too significant. But again, we're still seeing kind of like a flattening in the market right now. Some of the key altcoins that we're watching have been slowly gaining in this market, not only the ones that I personally have been watching as some of my bullish candidates for 2020, but also some of the major market leaders. I got to say, some of the momentum plays like XRP have actually been making higher lows in this case comparative to Bitcoin. Things of that sort are really getting me excited that we might see some movement soon. But as I've told you guys many times, I really think, as much as I do have a good allocated position in altcoins, I am waiting for Bitcoin to get back up to 20,000 before we get a real flush. In this case, we're going to get Bitcoin correcting, and that's liquidity. A lot of that is going to rush into altcoins in that case, especially with the low levels comparative to Bitcoin that they're currently at. And again, we'll take a look at market cap here. We can start to see that we did set a higher low here, and we're starting to curve back up. Again, the point that I tried to make the other day, guys, is that as much as I am looking, and I even am writing in my newsletter about some price ranges on the downside that I'm looking for Bitcoin that would be awesome to average in my opinion, I'm not going to wait around for that. I'm consistently averaging in the cash that I have. And, again, I might save some in hopes that we might get another few $100 or $1,000 drop in Bitcoin. But if it starts to turn up quickly, I'm not going to miss out on that. So luckily, I have the fortunate nature of watching the markets much more than probably any normal human would. But at the same time, I don't fret over price in that case. And at the same time, if you're not in that position, if you're just, the fact of the matter is, if you're just, holding for the long term, don't stress out over a few $100s, guys. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to get you that much difference in the sense of the Bitcoin you'll be able to buy. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, you guys got to determine for yourself what you want to do. But wanted to talk about this because there's been a lot of people fighting over this, and a lot of course, headlines, as always, in the crypto media space. There's too many crypto news sites. Anyways, this one from ZY Crypto talked about how over $1 billion was moved on the Bitcoin network in a very short period of time through a few select transactions. Now, I want to go ahead and dispel any FUD, guys. This is not Satoshi Nakamoto dumping his bags. The Satoshis, Bitcoin are still long gone. They still haven't moved. Along with that as well, this is not Bitcoin whales that are selling on the open market. This is actually much more easily explained if you understand the details of the transaction. And what it actually has to do with is a company called Zappo in this case. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's basically a Hong Kong-based cryptocurrency custody company. And it recently got acquired by Coinbase. So what they're doing in this case, with the huge amount of Bitcoin that they manage through their wallet, they're making a transaction probably to Coinbase's systems. And you can see, for example, people on Twitter were noticing this and starting to have some communication amongst one another, talking about how it's Zappo. It's basically transacting between different addresses. They're not looking to dump the Bitcoin. Not to mention, I just want to make this very clear, guys. If there was someone, for example, who had all of these Bitcoin and they wanted to sell it, they would not be selling it through the open market because there is demand right now in the OTC space. In a matter of a few days at max, you could probably sell it all. There are a lot of people who want to buy a large stake of Bitcoin, but they're going to be buying it through OTC markets and vice versa. These whales, if they were going to sell Bitcoin, would do it through OTC. The slippage that they would occur if they tried to dump it, even across all exchanges, they're not going to be the only ones selling in that case if Bitcoin starts moving like that. It would just be immense. They would lose so much money. So that's why OTC markets exist, why they are very beneficial for crypto in a lot of cases as well. So again, just important thing to take into mind here. No whales or anything. Again, Xapo is a pretty big custody company for cryptocurrencies. You guys can take a look into their company, but just wanted to let you all know that was the big reason for that big shift over the Bitcoin network. A lot of the times when you see Bitcoin moving, you can't always take it as someone's getting prepared to dump or someone's, getting prepared to sell it to some institutional investor or something. You just can't really tell. Anyways, going on here, we have LedgerX beating back to the finish line, finally not only launching their Bitcoin futures that are settled physically to a select audience, but to the broader U.S. markets. If you are a U.S. resident with a government-issued ID, you can now trade futures contracts for real Bitcoin. These are physically settled. These contracts set an actual demand for Bitcoin. It's very exciting, guys. So, Bitcoin derivatives provider LedgerX announced it has launched the first physically settled Bitcoin futures contracts today in the United States. The contracts will pay traders out in Bitcoin rather than US dollars and will be available to both institutional and retail investors. So, this is really good, guys. We'll have to see here if this actually picks up much demand. I'm curious to see if they'll be able to build it in a format that feels familiar and understandable to retail clients. I have no doubt institutional investors will get it in a matter of a very short period of time. But it is good to see they've really pushed hard. They got it through. And, I think this is going to apply a lot of pressure on Bakkt. If we do see some success with this, I think it's going to get them even more eager to get this out the window and start competing. But again, I think you want to do it right. But it seems the team has been able to do things by the books. They have all the regulatory compliance they need, and LedgerX as well probably has the proper custodial solutions as well in the process of doing these futures. So I think this is really cool. It's exciting. This has been something people waited for a very long time. It just happens not to be backed at the moment. In the case of the company, not saying that it's not backed. It is physically backed, but it's not the company backed who was the first one to get to this. So we'll have to see. I really want to see, this increase of competition in the space. I think it's good. And not to mention as well, more opportunities to actually invest in Bitcoin in some way. Physically backed ways to invest in Bitcoin. So good news in that end. Now, in the sense of a little bit of TA, guys, I know we're doing this a little bit later in the episode, but I wanted to point out a few things here in the sense of price that I'm looking for. A lot of people are curious now that we've started to, in the sense of total market cap, set 4 days of higher price action over the last few days. Not to mention Bitcoin has started to curve up. What am I looking for here? Well, I'm liking the fact that overall market capitalization seems to have a generic support line here. Again, setting higher lows each and every time. This is why I've told people, I'm not, sorry, I keep on saying that. Guys, you get my point here in the sense that, I'm not going to get too greedy and say, I'm going to wait for market cap to get down to $240 billion. I just think that 260 is too much for me to buy into any coins. It's the fact of the matter is, guys, is that this is so early on in the cycle, in my opinion, personally. I think cryptocurrencies as an overall market are going to reach $1 trillion in 2020. I believe that it's going to completely outpace gold, silver, stocks, bonds, properties, whatever you can put your money into. I really think it's going to be one of the best performing markets. Especially if you nail some of the right altcoins and, average in on dips in this case, you're getting these really solid opportunities in the market that I personally believe aren't going to be around for that long. So the thing is, what I'm looking for in the sense of a continuation of the cycle, I would want to see a close above both the 21-day and the 50-day. And then I think if we can get that over the next week or so, that's going to prompt us, and it's going to prompt us in this case to be able to go higher in price. And that's basically going to mean we've broken past the line of resistance from the past two highs. And again, that's not much to realize in price. We just need to realize a few $10 billion in market capitalization. So if we can get, a little more than a 10% move in the overall market, then we'll break past this line and we can probably start the next cycle. And when we consider, how much it comes in these cycles, it's pretty minimalistic to ask for 10%, or very minimal to ask for 10%, and then I think we can have a lot more continuation afterwards. So that's in the case of total market cap. If we take a look at Bitcoin here on Coinbase, we can see here as well, very similar pattern. Again, setting actually higher lows here for price. We didn't even revisit past the previous lows, and we're making support around a range of previous resistance, right? I know a lot of people want this to go down to 8,000 or 7,000. I would love to see it too. I'd love to average in there. I've got some extra cash that I'd like to add, and every week I've been making my deposits into Coinbase. But the fact of the matter is that this could easily start moving up soon. I think it's when you get past some of these moving averages. And, now that we've finally gotten to dip below them, I think we've had our healthy correction. We've had more than a 34% correction, if I'm correct on that. Yeah, about 34, 35% here from the highs to the lows. This is the time where buyers come in, guys. It's not the time to fret. It's not the time to buy into FUD, at least in my opinion. All right, so the thing that I know many of you probably don't care about, but it is very important, and that is the crucial Fed meeting, or the FOMC meeting. Or sorry, that's a oxymoron. It's the Federal Open Market Committee. So the FOMC meeting that we're going to have is going to be very important today. So it usually happens on the 30th or the 31st of the month, towards the end of the month. And we are going to be hearing Jay Powell, the Fed chairman, come out and talk about monetary policy and shifts in monetary policy. So today is going to be a very historic day, at least according to plan right now, because everyone is under the precursor that the Fed chairman is going to announce a rate cut. Now, the reason this is significant, guys, and I really want to stress this, is that this is the first time in a decade that we have seen the Federal Reserve do this. 10 years we have not seen this happen. To put that in perspective, this is when the Bitcoin network was just coming online in the early parts of 2009. Like, it's early days. This was the last time we saw a rate cut. So I think there's some very serious significance to this. Now, to kind of precursor and kind of have a good laugh here, the Fed is going to obviously probably announce a rate cut. The thing to listen out for, though, is whether or not the Fed is going to cut rates multiple times this year. If it says that it's open to cutting rates, that's usually how it's going to probably label it. Or that, we're really going out of the water here, that this is going to be a multitude of rate cuts. And the doomsday scenario for equities and a lot of assets, which is that we'd only have this as a one-off thing, and that the Fed is very stubborn to considering any more further rate cuts throughout 2019 or 2020. Now, you're going to hear it in a very kind of lucrative, I don't know how to, I'm thinking of the proper term here on the spot. It's a very funny thing. The Federal Reserve, when it's announcing monetary policy changes or its mindset on the economy, it never says it in a straight way. It's not like, yeah, we think there's problems in the economy, that's why we're cutting rates. They're going to say, well, we're going to make sure to look at structural data, and, we're going to make sure that, if the underlying factors of the trade war in China, and not to mention monetary global monetary policy is at a position where credit markets are going to be squeezed, we could definitely look at doing a potential, easing on monetary policy. They're going to make it sound like gibberish, but you want to listen out for things like easing of monetary policy, using monetary tools in order to keep the expansion going, things of that sort. Those are things that hint that they're going to continue cutting rates outside of this simple rate cut. So there's all kinds of fancy language they can use. It's funny, and you can kind of hear me. I don't know if you guys have heard Jay Powell before. That's how he sounds. He's very calm, and you just kind of reads it to you like he's reading a bedtime story. Just tell me sweet little lies, Jay. Tell me that you're going to cut so many rates and then don't cut them. I'll buy all the equities. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Let's go ahead and dive into today's sponsor, CoinDeal. Alrighty, everyone. So let's go ahead and spend some time to focus in on today's sponsor, and it is no other than CoinDeal.com. Now, for those of you who are hearing about CoinDeal for the first time, CoinDeal.com is a cryptocurrency exchange that's open up to a wide range of users from the EU and also in my country, the United States. Now, this is really prevalent for a lot of people because it's not only a fiat on-ramp, which a lot of people are looking for, but also an exchange with a wide range of altcoins. So for those of you who might have gotten shut out of Binance, this could be a prominent alternative for you guys. So we're going to be spending a lot of time diving through most things, but the first thing I want to talk about here before we dive into security, fees, etc., I want to focus on the UI. I think this is always very important when it comes to exchanges. And whereas I think a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges still overcomplicate things, they don't provide a very simple, clean UI, I think CoinDeal does a very good job. Keeps things very minimalistic in nature, and I like that. I think most people need that when it comes to a cryptocurrency exchange. So, for example, we're taking a look at Bitcoin here. We have a buy and sell tab, and the chart looks like a modified version of the TradingView API, and we can see again, very clean here. Nice dark theme. I love it. They already know I like dark theme. No, I'm just kidding. But you can see it's a very clean layout overall, guys. You can see the market history, previous trades, current order book between the bids and the asks. And taking a look back, as I mentioned, there's a wide range of altcoins you can trade from, not only comparative to Bitcoin and also some fiat currencies, but as we talked about, as a fiat on-ramp, you can see that there are a wide range of different markets here. We usually only get dollar pairs in this case for most of these, or Euro pairs if you're on a European exchange. But in this this case, they provide US dollars, euros, and also the Polish currency as well as a choice for fiat on-ramps to trade against Bitcoin. So very interesting in that case. Now, in the sense of security, I think there's a lot to be talked about in this case. I won't be able to dive through all of it today, guys, but I want to make something very clear. And I recommend you should read through their security if you guys are interested, because I think that's priority number one when it comes to exchanges. But they did something really cool. And I think it's akin to some of the high respected exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken out there. And that is the fact that they use a system of microservices for their architecture. Now, to put this in simple speak, guys, it basically means that not one individual, some system architect at the company, could access your private keys. It's actually through an activation of multiple independent systems, so that eventually the only thing that can actually finally withdraw money out of the exchange is when there's an email verification from you, from your email, or from a two-factor authentication code. So you will be the sole authority as to whether or not those funds move. They might have the private key managed in some way on the exchange, but they will not be able to get access to the full key until all steps have verified it, and it will only send to the address that you have verified in that case. So very important step. I think it's awesome, and it's a good sign that they're doing things by the books. Not to mention, it's important to note that they are a part of the Crypto Valley, and I remember the Crypto Valley as well as the Bitcoin Association of Switzerland, two very long-standing and high-respect organizations. I got to meet people from those organizations. They've been in the space for quite some time. And I think Switzerland's just the best place in the sense of the regulatory environment. It takes a little bit longer to get things done, but it's done right. And along with that, you can see the fee structure is not that bad comparative to most Western exchanges. 0.3% for a maker fee, providing liquidity as a bid or ask order is pretty good. And then also in this case, as a taker fee, is not that bad. Some exchanges like Coinbase can charge 2 or 3%, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's a really good fee structure. 0.4%, not too bad, especially with the range of altcoins that you get. Now, as we take a look here, they're also doing a big giveaway, guys. We talked about this previously on the channel. They're doing a 50 million token giveaway, and they're giving away CoinDeal tokens. So you can register an account and get up to 100 tokens for free. Why would you do it? Well, the major thing is that you're going to have a lot of utility with it, but the major thing is that you'll be able to pay down fees and reduce your fees on your trades. So you can actually have reduced fees on a lot of your first trades on the platform. So definitely consider just picking them up, guys. It's free to register an account. And again, you'll be able to hold them or utilize them however you want. Now, the major thing as well that I think is quite interesting compared to other exchanges is that CoinDeal has actually expanded itself in the sense of marketing efforts. And I like this because it's a way of marketing that's not really crypto focused. It's trying to get other people who might be in other parts of the world or other focuses into crypto. And you can see here that they have the Wolverhampton Wanderers as their sponsor, big football team in EU. So I think it's really interesting to have them on board. And again, I think you guys, if you guys are big sports fans and stuff, you can read through some of the history in relation to the team here, and they've got some extra details on the site. But really exciting stuff, guys. I like their marketing efforts. I like the fact that they're doing a token giveaway to reduce fees. Not to mention as well, the security seems like it's top notch. I think these are the things that are really going to shape it up to be a good player in the space. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below as to any questions you guys might have for CoinDeal. I bet the team would be happy to answer some of those questions as well. And if you guys want, just give it a spin. Try registering an account and let me know how it goes in that case if you have any good experiences with it. But anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you are having a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.